Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to Caldecott's virtual prize giving and speech day for 2020. I'm Malcolm Swift, and it's my privilege to be the chairman of the governing council of the school. Now, the school year has been dominated by the global pandemic, and I'd like to begin by recognising the remarkable efforts of everybody at Caldecott in helping to create virtual Caldecott and then to get the school open for the final week of term. At last year's speech day, I mentioned some changes we'd made to the governing council and to the committees which undertake substantial amounts of work during the year. These changes have enabled us to navigate our way through the year, focusing on the challenges of today whilst keeping an eye on the longer term ambitions for the school. To keep the school thriving and to keep us well positioned for the future, we've had to make some difficult and uncomfortable choices. And we've done this in consultation with our staff, mindful of the values that have kept Caldecott so strong for so long. I'd like to conclude by acknowledging the extraordinary support which Caldecott receives from its parental body. I would like to thank each and every parent for your commitment to the school. It has never been more important. We know that we must continually earn your support. And to do that, the governors will continue to set a high bar for our headmaster, in whom we have great confidence. We will work with him to build on Caldecott's unique strength to keep us relevant for today and adaptable for the future. And with that ambitious and optimistic thought, I will now hand you over to our headmaster. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen and boys. Welcome to Caldecott's prize giving and speech day. We must all be at capacity when it comes to comment about how strange things are, but nevertheless, strange indeed it is as I record this message for you. In my mind's eye, your family are sat together in front of a screen, and maybe, parents, there's a glass of fizz in your hands. We have recorded this event over the course of the year, and we intend to blend speeches with the film footage of the boys along with the announcement of those prize winners. I've titled this opening passage as Welcome and Reflection. With the welcome complete, the task of reflecting on this year is overwhelmed by virtual Caldecott. But as there is so much that could be included, I will limit myself to just 2 reflections, and I will avoid all cliches about changing jobs landscape and future workforce, etc. But as the Caldecott community has not been spared the pain of losing loved ones, I would like to start by taking a moment to say that our thoughts and prayers are with you. I wonder how many of you, like me, have been blown away by the incredible human spirit that we have seen from the boys. So many of the boys have made me laugh during virtual Caldecott thanks to the social media friendly clips we've watched. With humour as one of our core values and the topic of the last assembly we were all together for in March when Freddie Martineau performed his Uppingham Drama Scholarship monologue. Little did we know that the message conveyed that day would help us through. My second reflection is what I consider to be the most important lesson we have all given the boys. In blending 2 of my virtual assembly messages together, it gives us what our teachers and you parents have achieved together. Firstly, these young and impressionable children in whom we care so deeply needed to see us succeed, no matter what, and we have. Secondly, despite the tough days, more often than not, I have seen an abundance of optimism and gratitude. For many, there was a mountain of a challenge in front of them, and this continued up to and including the Herculean task of wider opening on the 22nd of June. If boys murmur optimism and gratitude to themselves when they face a future challenge, then they will be on the right path, and this will be the gift of virtual Caldecott. You can all take a bow for nurturing this mindset. Thank you.
We often sing this universally uplifting song in chapel. In this school-wide project, Mr. Wild has tried to teach us the correct rhythmic variations, which add great character to the second verse. He's also tried to give us the opportunity for involvement in school singing projects to bring the sense of inclusion and community during these difficult weeks when we have not been able to attend chapel or sing together. I hope you enjoy it.
Caldycott has been a massive part of both of our lives, and I can't remember a time without this school. I've known it for 10 years, and every day it seems to shine brighter than ever before.
When I first joined Caldycott in the first form, I never would have imagined that I'd be here today with such a great group of people. Here's an overview of everybody here during our time.
We used to have it all, but now's our curtain call. So hold for the applause, oh, 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 and wave out to the crowd and take our final bow. Oh, it's our time to go, but at least we stole the show. 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 No heroes, villains, one to blame. While wilted roses fill the stage, and the thrill is gone. Our debut was a masterpiece. Our lines we read so perfectly, but the show, it can't go on. We used to have it all, but now's our curtain call. So hold for the applause, oh, 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 and wave out to the crowd and take our final bow. Oh, it's our time to go, but at least we stole the show. At least we stole the show. At least we stole the show. At least we stole the show.
Happiest time at Caldecott was probably when CE finished a few days ago. This was because it put a lot of stress off my back.
The Italy trip, when we went sightseeing on the speedboat.
Definitely the South Africa cricket tour.
Caldecott Winter 2018. Me and 10 other friends went down to the AstroTurf to have a huge snowball fight.
My favourite trip has to be Italy. Last year in March we went there. It was amazing. We went to Rome. I'd never been there before and I loved it.
I've had many good memories at Caldecott, but my favourite is probably staying up in the night in the caravans at Cornwall.
When I ran off the bus and straight into the ocean.
My best memories of Caldecott was playing cricket in the courtyard with my friends. It was always great fun.
Biarritz Rugby Tour was a great experience and I'm sure I'll remember it for a long time.
For the last 2 years I have loved boarding, and my greatest memory was when we built a fort in the middle of the night.
France Rugby Tour was my favourite experience.
Remembering the football term, it was house matches and I ended up slotting into the middle to top left hand corner.
I'd say my favourite part of Caldecott has been the fourth form ski trip.
I remember on the Italy trip when Elliot was in the bathroom and he leant on the sink, tearing it off the wall.
Most memorable one has to be winning house rugby in sixth form.
But one of my favourites was probably winning Caldecott Sevens in fifth form.
In 2016, Eddie Jones, the England rugby coach, said this: "No one owns an England rugby shirt, they just borrow it." By that he meant playing rugby for your country was a bigger deal than any one person currently playing. This sentiment has been particularly important to me recently. Caldecott does not belong to those of us on the payroll or to parents who choose it for their son's school. It belongs to the boys. Our purpose is to make the experience as meaningful and worthwhile as possible. Yet in losing a whole term of the real thing, our boys have missed their school and our leavers particularly those in the 4th form and 6th form, have been robbed of the experience, and I am sorry. My first thank you is therefore also a goodbye to the leavers today. We wish you well. The Board of Governors have been a constant support to me and others too throughout this challenging year, and I am immensely grateful to them for their guidance and good governance. They share in my view that it's a privilege to be part of such a great school, and we are in an excellent position to go from strength to strength in the months and years to come. Our scholarship record is a new record for the second time in 3 years, and with boys enjoying 100% success at Common Entrance, our academic culture, coupled with a commitment to the all-rounder experience, is clear to be seen. I thank the staff for their commitment to each individual over the years to get to these end goals. This is the first year in the school's history that we have a full house of the various scholarships that are offered, and let us not forget that these senior schools they progress to are the most selective and highly regarded British schools. Anne Banfield has been our chairperson on the Friends of Caldecott. Her ambition has known no limits, and with projects including the development of the playground occurring in her time, we are very grateful to her and the whole committee. No one expected the Friends Christmas party at the old Naval and Military Club to be the social high point of the year, but it was a splendid evening. 3 teaching staff move on to new horizons at the end of this term, and so I'd like to express my enormous thanks to Tom Hollier, Rachel Cusworth and Duncan Reed. Their impact through boarding, as teachers and as tutors has helped shape young lives.
September, love was changing the minds, pretenders.
Good evening. As the pandemic of coronavirus claims more lives around the world, the people of the United Kingdom are now being advised to make drastic changes to their day-to-day existence.
After schools shut their gates from Friday afternoon, they will remain closed for most pupils, for the vast majority of pupils, until further notice.
During Virtual Caldicot, I really enjoyed my English lessons and poetry, and I would like to say thank you to Ma'am Corrigan for arranging those really fun English lessons.
I'd like to thank all my parents and all the parents and staff for helping me through this tough time and situation.
My favourite part about Virtual Caldicot was when we did a set design competition, and it was all for the thing Jonah and the Whale, where we had to make it based on that. Probably thank Mr. Harper, who's given us lots of motivation through Virtual Caldicot.
Probably my favourite time at Virtual Caldicot was when we did the Olympics tea. I'd also like to make an announcement for Ma'am Rule because she's been really perseverant in me and she's been really fun.
Firstly, I would like to thank Ma'am Naidu for organising me throughout the week because I am quite forgetful of my things.
Favourite part about Virtual Caldicot was probably when we had to do our Ancient Egypt Day, and it was all about our art day because we missed the school trip.
I thought all the teachers and managed to incorporate live lessons well into our schedule while still getting us to do work aside from live lessons. I really want to thank all the sports staff for all their live lesson, all the teachers and Mr. Evans for helping me.
I'd like to thank Mr. Harper. At the start of Virtual Caldicot I wasn't really sure about it. I was quite nervous, but then so I sent him a message and he replied saying all was going to be fine.
I enjoyed Virtual Caldicot because it was almost like just school from home. You can wake up early, wake up late, and the lessons you could do when you want. I would like to thank my tutor, Mr. Reed, because it was just really nice to talk about how's Virtual Caldicot in the mornings and consolidate what you did yesterday.
In my opinion, my favourite subject in Virtual Caldicot was probably English, because you could use your imagination and your freedom to write stories.
I would like to thank my tutor, Mohammed McLeod, for always making tutor meetings very entertaining and always telling us what's going to happen in the day.
I really enjoyed the Stay Connected week because I got to do it with my mum and we got to do very fun activities.
I'd like to thank my parents and Mr. Harper for doing Virtual Caldicot so we could keep in touch and he could tell us what to do every day.
I would like to thank Mr. Baker, my tutor, for making our tutor meetings very enjoyable.
Writing a birds poem was a really good experience. I saw lots of colourful birds outside my house. I would thank Ma'am Hellings for all the support in tutor meetings. It was really nice to have that at the start of the day.
Hello everyone. It's been really sad that we haven't been able to play cricket this term at Caldicot, especially with such good weather up until half term. I'm sure you all miss the training, the matches, being in a team with all your friends, and of course the match tees. Looking at our board of past captains, one name stands out for achieving the highest position in English cricket. That's of course Andrew Strauss, and I was delighted to ask him a few questions about his time at Caldicot and his cricket career. The first question is from Timmy, who would like to know what inspired you to become a professional cricketer?
Well, you know what? I always loved all sports. So, you know, I was just one of those kids that just couldn't wait for lessons to finish and for games to start. And whether that be rugby, cricket, you know, tennis, golf, whatever it might be. So, you know, I always loved the idea of being a professional sportsman. It just so happened that cricket ended up being the sport that I was best at. And then, you know, as I got older, I started to realise that, you know, maybe I was good enough to make a go of it. You know, I never felt like I was good enough to maybe be an international cricketer, but I thought I was good enough to be a county cricketer. And so when the opportunity came, I was just desperate to do it. And, you know, I was very lucky that I scored runs at the right time and then found myself being paid to play the sport I love. That's not a bad job, is it?
Yeah. And the next question is, who was the best bowler you've ever faced?
Well, I mean, I was lucky enough to face a lot of really good bowlers. I think definitely, without doubt, Shane Warne. So yeah. Shane Warne was just a genius with the ball. Like, you know, to bowl leg spin, it's very, very difficult to be incredibly accurate as a leg spinner bowler. Warne could do that, but he could also spin it miles. And then he had this sort of persona, he was a very intimidating guy to play against as well. So all three of those added up to make him very, very hard to play.
Yeah. What was your favourite subject at Caldicot?
Well, I don't know if it was my favourite, but the most memorable was Latin, because we had a teacher, Mr. Wright, Tim Wright, who was a very good teacher, but he was also quite hard on us. So I just remember, like, we couldn't muck around in these classes, and he drove us quite hard. And as a result, we all did very well in Latin, which I've got to be honest with you, hasn't helped me much in later life. But at the time, I was very good at Latin.
Who was your role model cricket player as a child?
Well, two people for me. So the first one, when I was kind of your age, it was Graham Gooch. So, you know, around that time, he was England captain. He was our best player by a long way, opening batsman. And, you know, I just loved his sort of stomach for the fight. He used to take on the West Indies bowlers and Shane Warne and whatever. Just a really good pro. And I've been lucky enough to spend a lot of time with him over the years. He's just a great man as well. And then the other guy you absolutely loved was Brian Lara. So he was a genius and just a guy that could do things that no other player could do. So I always admired him, knowing that I could never play like him, but he was the player I wanted to be, really. And again, feel very fortunate to have been able to play against him quite a few times over the years as well.
How did you deal with the nerves facing the fast bowlers?
Well, nerves, you know, there's nothing wrong with nerves. So I always felt like if I prepared myself well, so I'd done all the work that I needed to do before the start of a game, then I was giving myself the best chance. And even though I was a bit nervous, I wouldn't be worried about what was to come, because I knew there was nothing else I could do. I'd done everything I could, and then what would be would be. So I got to that frame of mind where you just got to accept that in cricket, sometimes it's your day and sometimes it's not your day. And that's okay. But all you can concentrate on and all you can control is how you prepare and the work you do before the game starts.
How did you feel when you lifted the Ashes trophy?
Well, look, for any English cricketer, the Ashes feels like the ultimate test, really. You know, we've got such a strong rivalry against Australia, which has gone back so many years. There's such a historical element to it. And so, you know, the famous photos of English captains in the past lifting the Ashes is something that spurs you on. And actually, there were long periods of time where no English team won the Ashes. So for me to be able to do it as captain twice and, you know, lift that tiny little trophy, you know, it's nothing like the FA Cup or anything like that, tiny little trophy. But you know that if you've lifted it, you've had to dig pretty deep as a group of people, and you've had to look after each other and do some pretty special things when the pressure was really on. So it's a very good feeling to win the Ashes as a player, but even more so as a captain.
What advice would you give to a Caldecott cricketer?
Well, two things. I think, first of all, you know, cricket's a game to be enjoyed. So, you know, there are plenty of times where during a game of cricket, things can be a bit boring when you're not batting or when you're in the field or whatever. Like, those are the times where you need to stay involved in the game. So, you know, cheer on your teammates if they're doing well with the bat. And when you're in the field, try and get in the game somehow. So try and make sure you get in, you're backing up, so you can get the ball in your hands. I think that's always a big thing. But really, you know, the key to enjoy the game and just savor every moment you're out there on the pitch. And then the second thing is, you know, no one improves without doing the hard yards, the practice. But if you love the game and you want to improve, then that doesn't feel like hard work. That's actually a lot of fun as well. So when you're practicing, set yourself little challenges, play little games with your mates, and that will allow you to improve. And the more you improve, the more you enjoy the game as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. That was really inspirational. Thank you. I wish everyone at Caldecott a restful summer and hope there will be a chance at some point soon for you to play cricket with all your friends and at your clubs.
Over lockdown, the English department gave us a challenge where they gave us the first line and the last line, and we had to complete a poem around it. Here are some of our favourite verses.
The spring sun shines upon Top Field. The rugby season's scars have healed. It's quiet in this empty place. It's missing every schoolboy's face. It's hard to say what I miss most, being with friends or the Wednesday roasts.
Our day still begins with tutor time, but this first event now starts at 9. We say hello to our friends via Zoom, but now this is from the living room.
Whilst I enjoy my family runs, my mum's puns, I feel like something is still missing. I love all the workouts, with all the shout-outs.
Mr. Harper, our third form teacher, whose jokes are really a hit. Year meetings, assemblies and chapel. I miss them all. Well, a bit.
But in this happy, peaceful place, something is lost in all the space. The normal sound of cheerful joys is missing from the missing boys.
And when these bizarre times are done, we'll see all our friends once more. We'll play cricket in the hot sun, lots of different pleasures in store.
Flowers lie in the summer sky. Oh, how the time did pass by. The deadly virus is now going. The children now return.
Remember well our core values. Perseverance, integrity, courage, compassion, and humor. Remember our friends and teachers. That brings us back to Caldecott.
J. Hill Jenkins, Caldecott's founder, said that he wanted to gift the chance for every boy to shine their light on the world. His vision then is inspiring to me now. And the senior schools that we feed, like Caldecott, recognising that things are changing. And we'll see, but it's quite possible that the pandemic may have increased the rate of change. We are a preparatory school and we feed boys to the best senior schools in the country. We're both traditional and forward thinking. So to stick with J. Hill Jenkins' words, what does the light look like from this moment on? Our core values of perseverance, integrity, courage, compassion and humour served us well in this most unsettling time. But it's clear to me that simultaneously we have therefore an unshakable foundation, but also great ambition. This is the Caldecott way, and these words are our light. But what does the lantern look like that's holding the light? Caldecott prepares boys for the finest senior schools, and it's done so throughout its history, and this core purpose is central to our future success. Right now, I'm talking to those senior school heads, and we share a common goal. We want our alumni to make a positive difference. Historians will tell us that history is littered with big mistakes being made, and many of us feel as if the last 20 years has seen much the same. The difference our alumni will make, therefore, is in correcting them, learning from them, and ensuring our planet is a better place by the end of their lives. My colleagues and I made the conscious decision in our careers to be educators, and this level of ambition is why we get up in the morning as teachers and as school leaders. And so to conclude, the future of Caldecott is this future that I describe. I would like to thank the staff enormously for their hard work in the course of these unsettling times. And I thank the parents too for your steadfast support that you have given us throughout this year. Thank you.
I will meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Keep smiling.
E-O! Julep up!